대부분의 위기 상황은 플루드니체가 출력 제한을 해제해주면 이겨낼 수 있지만 그러면 배달비가 한 푼도 안 남기도 하고 무엇보다 제 수명이 나만하지 않아서요.
Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Mac, this is Limbus Company. I still haven't gotten around to uploading my video of Deviat Sinclair because that's also my first run of a Mirror Dungeon hard. Well, maybe it's just the first run of Mirror Dungeon 5 at all, I don't know, it's been a while and it's a very large video that I have to edit and upload. But that said, there is something else out now. Season identities can be dispensed from the dispenser starting at 12:19. That's unfortunate. I thought that they were going to start this next season. I do have some tickets that I can spend on this, but I don't want to spend everything, so... You can always try one of these. Wow, it was not feeling generous today. Yep, everyone else gets to try these. Try this new identity. I have to wait. I am not going to spend my Progress Nut and special event pages on getting something that I can easily get on my own. But I can at least look at the identity, so... At uptime 1 we don't have too much. On hit with this skill, heal 30% of damage dealt. Consume up to 50 hard blood and gain Heart Blood Feast and gain 1 hard blood for every blood feast consumed. So up to 10 hard blood. And hard blood functions just like all the other Bloodfiend storages. If we fail to consume Blood Feast, get bleed instead. On hit, inflict 1 bleed. Variant Sancho Hard Blood Arts 9. Whip. On hit with this skill, heal 50% of damage dealt. Gain 20 bleed. Inflict 1 more bleed for every on hit with hard blood. Oh. So she's going to generate a little bit of Blood Feast with this one. It also has 2 unbreakable coins, so it's going to get that healing in no matter what, but since it's only going to be 3 and 4, it's not exactly going to balance out the 20 bleed. On hit, inflict 2 bleed. On hit, inflict 2 bleed. Consume 10 hard blood. So it's not that bad, it's just not that good either. Let all blossom free. On hit with this skill, heal 30% of damage dealt. Consume up to 50 blood feast and gain 1 hard blood. If we fail to consume blood feast, gain 5 bleed. At 10 plus hard blood, gain attack weight. On hit, inflict bleed. Deal 2.5% more damage for every bleed on the target. And for every 100 blood feast consumed by self. Apparently we're supposed to be getting up to 500 blood feast consumed to reach full power here. Variant Sancho Hard Blood Arts 8. Split Apart. On hit with the skill, heal 30% HP. If target has 6 plus bleed, gain coin power. I need to remember this is uptime 1, these aren't supposed to be nice numbers. At 10 hard blood, attack weight plus 1. If this skill has an increased attack weight, consume hard blood. On hit, inflict bleed. Deal 2.5% more damage for every bleed on the target. This unit takes precedence over other Bloodfiend kindreds. When using the variant Sandro Hardblood arts, HP cannot drop below 1. At 15 plus Hardblood, if one of the units are defeated or participating, empower this unit's leftmost slot. Huh. So wait a minute. There's no limit leftmost slot, but it means that in focused encounters where you don't get extra slots, she's going to have a lot of trouble trying to get out of the lower tier of Bloodfeast. She can get 10 Bloodfeast consumed, but if she isn't getting her to use her own attacks, then she's not going to hang on to it. Or heck, if these are flat out replacing her skills, then she doesn't get to ever build up Hard Blood because there's no consume Bloodfeast skills. This is weird, but apparently it's very powerful given what I've seen on Reddit. Laughters shall subside. Consume up to 50 Bloodfeast and gain 1 Hard Blood for every 10 Bloodfeast. If this unit failed to consume Bloodfeast, gain Bleed. To ally with at least 1 HP, apply Shimmering Bloodfiend. As long as this exists, all bleed damage taken by the shield is converted to Bloodfeast. Gain shield HP equal to the stack at the moment of its application. And inflict 2 bleed count. 2-3 plus highest resonance divided by 2 allies with least HP. Apply 1 plus hard blood divided by 15. Shimmering Bloodfiend for every 40 Bloodfeast consumed shared. Then consume half of hard blood on self. Yeah, this one is efficient. I forget what word I was going to use, but this can consume way more hard blood than anything else. If another allied La Mancha Land unit is defeated, gain +1 more hard blood when gaining hard blood from this unit's base attacks. When 3 or more allied La Mancha Land units are defeated, gain 3 additional hard blood. I don't think we have more than 3 at the moment, and then gain responsibility, which is +1 clash power, deal 20% more damage and take 20% more damage. Okay, hitting tier 2. Numbers look about the same. It's the passive where it'll be different, at least. If the enemy is defeated by an attack, increase Bloodfeast by 10% of the target's HP. 100 per turn, provoked against encounters if the part is broken. Gain damage up next turn for every 15% missing HP to a maximum of 3. If an ally is about to be defeated by bleed damage, prevent them from being defeated by bleed damage. Once per encounter for each identity. If there's more to it, I can't tell on the fly. But at tier 3, we gain her backup passive. Feed your repressed hunger, my family. At combat start, the ally with the least HP gains 1 damage up for every missing HP. If ally is a Bloodfiend, gain 1 damage up for every 15% instead. Both have a maximum of 3. Now, skill 1 is probably moved up a little bit, yeah. Now it by default rolls in 11. And this rolls an unbreakable 9. Kind of a letdown, even though it does have a bonus skill power for hitting a bleeding target. Because so does this. Let all blossom free. 4 to 4, 4 plus 5, so that goes up to 14. I should certainly hope so. If target has 6 bleed, coin power +1, attack rate +1 for every hard blood on self. Inflict bleed, deal more damage. The entire essential hard blood arts split apart. We can gain up to 2 attack rate and we have attack rate by default. That's interesting. Skill 3, I shall impale. On hit, heal of the damage dealt. Clash power +1 for every hard blood. If the target has bleed, gain coin power. Consume up to 50 blood feast. Gain hard blood for every 10 consumed. Wow, so it almost feels like Bloodfiend Gregor is not good for you because it's the only way to gain hard blood faster than 5 per turn. There's absolutely no way to hang on to her hard blood, so she has to burst through everything, whether you like it or not. Anyway, gain 10 bleed if we fail to consume Blood Feast. Deal 5% for every bleed on the target. Deal 10% more damage for every 100 consumed by self. Up to 50% on both of them. Although every bleed on target is quite the potent number. If the target is defeated, increase Blood Feast gain by 30 and gain 10 hard blood. But only once per turn, darn it. And Ascendant Sancho Hard Blood Arts Le Sangre. 4 plus 4 with unbreakable coins. So that's a nat 20. Gain base power for every hard blood on self. If target has 10 bleed, gain coin power. So that would be 24. And then we can also get our extra damage for having bleed and shared blood feast. Consume 10 hard blood for every hard blood. If target is defeated, regain half of hard blood consumed by the skill once per turn. So it's going to be a hard reset on whatever you're doing. On hit, inflict 4 bleed and 4 bleed count. If target is defeated, inflict 5 bleed and 1 bleed count against everyone. Okay, at 15 plus hard blood. So you're only going to start seeing this kick in at 15 plus. I need to keep that in mind. When other units among allies take bleed damage or consume blood feast, gain 2 hard blood. So she is kind of reliant of having... Well, I guess it's more that she's reliant on having allies at all, rather than specifically La Mancha Land ones. Yeah, the La Mancha Land ones need these, are needed for empowering skills, but she can also do it for... She can function even with the non-allies. In an encounter, if other La Mancha Land are defeated, gain hard blood, and more hard blood and responsibility. So, extra coin power at uptie 4. Activate bleed on the target. Target loses 1 bleed count. The thing is, bleed count is the stuff that's hard to hang on to. Let all blossom free. On hit with the skill, heal 30% of HP dealt. Consume up to 50 blood feast, gain 1 hard blood. On hit with this skill, heal 30% of HP dealt. On hit with this skill, heal 50% of HP dealt. Clash power, coin power. Oh wow, this is suddenly very busted. It's rolling a nat 25. And can gain 2 coin power, so that's 7, 14, 28, 33. Yikes. Although having the bleed stay on the target for long enough is still a bit of a catch. Inflict 8 bleed and 4 bleed count. I guess the 4 bleed count would make up for people wasting a bit of bleed, but still. If target is defeated, inflict 5 bleed and 1 bleed count against all enemies. Okay, yeah, unfortunately I do not have a Sancho that I can use it. I can do the up-tie for.
가족의 관리는 차질이 없을 겁니다. 당신은 내팽개친 것을 돌보는 것이 저의 몫이었을 테니.
90% of all gamblers quit before they reach their big first jackpot, right? That's actually very stupid because you won't know that they were going to get a jackpot. It's impossible to know that, buddy. Oh yeah. Ooh, this is quite the mess, isn't it? So then, if we up-tie her, her speed goes from 4 to 6 to 4 to 7. And adds the coin power conditional to her base skills. And the extra attack weight for her skill 2. Coin power conditioner to her base skill, etc, yeah. And her passive. You know what I didn't look at? Raise min and max speed values by 1 for every 10 hard bloods, so she can actually do some pretty interesting things with this. Okay, with that out of the way, if we up-tie it to tier 3, we get the skill 3, we knew that. We get the upgraded skill 3, we also knew that. Coin power, base power, coin power. Actually, wait. 4 plus 3 for 3 coins. 4 plus 5 for 2 coins. Okay. And it's a resonance. Because of course it is.
허황되고 유치한 꿈은 즐거우셨습니까? 이제 깨어날 시간입니다. 당신이 외면하고 떠넘겼던 모든 책임을 다하기 위해서. 원망하십시오, 어버이시여. 우리 역시 당신을 원망할 테니.
I'm going to have to look to see if the text here changes it based on where you are in the story. What are you thinking, father? What are you doing? Stab him! What are you thinking now, at this precise moment? As the family who once loved you so much impales you, who once loved us in return with these brutal stakes. Stab him now! Know that you were once the one who wronged us. You abandoned all of us. You abandoned the whole family. What are you thinking, father? What are the thoughts swirling in your mind as the outpouring of curses and condemnation, stained both by wrath and hatred, strike your ears? Rouse yourself from this dream, O father. The reply you gave me was silence. Was it your fury against us that had sealed your lips? No, it was not. For you merely cast down your gaze as staked sinner does out of guilt. Like a felon who has no words left to say in their defense. What happened to us? Where did this all begin? Both are questions with answers plain in sight. The day when a stranger knocked forcefully upon our gates. The day when Father's eyes began to twinkle with interest. The day when, during one family gathering, we collectively agreed we would help our beloved father achieve his dream as the night's tales of adventure began to pull him in. Every little change brought on by each new day shaped and moulded the bed of this penultimate moment. You built this insurmountable wall of disconnect between yourself and the rest of us. The responsibility is yours and yours alone. You abandoned us. I can hear the echoes of Father's jovial laughter all the way from here at the end of this hallway. Next to Father stood the Knight of the White Moon, having taken my place. I hide behind a pillar, staring at the pair. I recall the words of my father, and I recall the words you used to impale my hearts like a stake. I am no longer in need of your company. Please divert your care to La Mancha Land and the rest of the family. Look after them. Your language was plain, not a singular pretense, deception, or intentional embellishment veiled within those words. Your words, shared casually over the breakfast table one morning, were as gentle and as affectionate as your every other word. So I wished to have faith that Father sent me away because he cared for me. A tale in which bloodfiends are no longer bound by their yearning for blood. A tale in which a clement, selfless hero protects all. A tale in which humans and bloodfiends coexist, smiles abound in paradise. A tale in which we must embrace the dream to seek and reclaim our lost tomorrows. He must have sent me away because I clearly did not show an iota of interest in these laughably absurd tales. Because he valued my time. Yes, it had to be a decision he made in his love for the family, despite the knight's silver tongue infecting his mind. That was the faith I hoped to instill within myself. Yet, as I peered from behind the pillar as they bantered, I could not perish the thought that I was simply making excuses for him. Little chuckles peppered in between light-hearted chatter, both of them swirling happily inside a little world of their own. Do you truly find the tales regaled by the human that riveting? Father was dreaming a new dream, having discarded the old dream that he imbued in us as he saved us from the gutters. I cannot imagine the euphoria brought upon by your newfound dream, Father. But for me, no, for us, our family, it was nothing more than a combination of our worst nightmares. How much longer can our sanity endure this exitless nightmare? I see it still, past the darkness of my eyelids, a vision of a past I lived not so long ago. Memories of our own family members who had gone mad from long suppressed instincts. I remember the day when Father deems their sin unforgivable, their sin of seeking happiness as bloodfiends should, by bringing harm to humans. In my hand that wielded the lance, which was commanded there by Father's orders, lingered a foreign and unfamiliar sensation. My very own thoughts then are alien to me. How did I feel as I buried their still living bodies in the earth? How did I feel as I mercilessly tore through their skulls? I opened my eyes and looked at my hands, sodden with sweat. I wiped them dry. Then my gaze focuses on the priest's area, still lit so bright at such a late hour. Our father's dream isn't what sustains our family now. It's the priest's desperate words of consolation in the face of endless pain. The halls still echo with Father and the Knight's laughter. Now, more than ever, I feel an intense hatred for that noise. I felt my own feet moving on their own toward the confessional as though they were possessed. How did the consultations go? Well, it's no different than from usual. All are at peace, tranquil, as they always are, and all that. You lie. Do you take me for such a fool that I would fail to pick up on what really is happening? Spatters of blood marred his room. His back was rough and torn with fresh wounds. There was a whip on his desk, surrounded by dozens of uneaten hammer bars. I knew that something was starting to fester within all of us, but it affected the priest most severely. For he stood alone before the flood, taking the outpouring pain, suffering and hatred of the family in our father's stead, rotting inside more than anyone else. Cancel some of your consultation appointments, but send them to me instead. I will lend my ear to their troubles. You will? At this rate, taking on this responsibility alone will break you before long, before anyone else. His eyes wavered on me with a look of unmistakable distrust. Please do not hesitate to ask me for assistance should any questions or difficulties arise. But he did not refuse my help. What words must be said to alleviate one such absence of exchange? I stood there for what felt like an eternity, trying to come up with something to talk about, but there was nothing. When I turned to leave, Gregor called to me in a peculiar tone. That reminds me. I heard through the grapevine that father was preparing to leave on an adventure. Yes, all on his own too. Once again, it seems that the human is responsible for this. I hear that this adventure will be a quest for a legendary helm. The sheer idea of it, I can hardly wait. What do you know about that adventure? The priest is acting overtly secretive. I look straight into his nervously wandering eyes and ask in an interrogative tone. We weren't that close, but I knew him well enough to ask what he really meant there. A plan, you say? I don't know if it is wise of me to share such a thing with you, but yeah, Lady Rodian is the one masterminding this plan. Well, I suppose there's no harm in sharing this with you now. How could have I ever imagined that this despicable plot of filial piety, so horrible that anyone hearing it would have intensely hated the idea? It's all for the happiness of the family. Was shared to me by none other than the priest. My instincts are screaming at me to immediately take this matter to father. The confessional, it alone a sight of madness manifest, cuts through my heart. When the priest succumbs to madness, which is only a matter of time, another Bloodfiend will have to sit in that small room all alone to shoulder the burden of anxiety from the entire family. It need not be said the same fate awaits all who take his place. And when one by one more of the family lose their grip on the sanity, should I again be made to bury my own family, my own blood, will my hands be once again forced to crush their skulls? Is this the horrid future our father dreamed of? No, it cannot be. Father was changed and twisted by the silver-tongued wiles of the night. Even as the family that had promised to withstand the thirst, that had promised to dream together, crumbles, our irresponsible father still seeks to go on an adventure in such black display of naivete. This alone is proof enough. She conspires a sin of infilial piety, an unthinkable transgression. But I must hear her out first. Lady Rodian is currently in the process of wrapping up the last parade of the day. I knew where to go to put an end to this chaos. To the parade area, where my only sister resides. Oh, your eyes! You already know everything, don't you? Was it the priest who let you in on this? An elaborate parade. Surrounding the procession's path are humans, laughing and clapping delightedly at the parade. Their eyes hold no trace of the fear that we once instilled in them. I only saw polite and innocent affability at worst. Even the hunters, who once hated us enough to point where they would willingly throw their lives away just to kill a single one of us, now make an exception for us. Our sacrifice was all it took to perpetuate this idyllic reality. Yes, our sacrifice. Only our sacrifice. Father's ridiculously juvenile dream, it's becoming real. We're starting to acknowledge it. You mean the dream that made our every waking moment a nightmare? I guess it's my fault for expecting you to have changed at all. You'd always agree with Father no matter... Do as you will. What meaning is there to happiness if we are all excluded from its blessing? I know the answer now. The happiness our Father saw in his ideals is meaningless to us. What glory is there to be gazing upon the happiness of humans, if we stand upon the ground which our family lies buried, made into corpses by our own hands to free them from their madness? What? I said, go ahead. Do it. At my confident reply, an odd light begins to shimmer in my sister's eyes. The eyes that had completely lost any semblance of light. The eyes that had seen too much fatigue to glimmer anymore. But it's filial piety. I thought you'd be more opposed to this. It is Father who has abandoned us. And that plan comes from none other than you, who had to look after the entire family while our absent father was chasing his hollow dreams. Focus on the plan. Leave it to me to take care of the family in the meantime. I thought you were still so disinterested in everything happening before your eyes. Hey, I kinda like the new you. Go to the barber. She'll explain everything. That child was the architect of the more intricate parts of the plan, after all. No, actually, I'll go with you. It would be easier for you to have me there to smooth things out, right? Yes. Sancho is in! Lady Sancho will take part in our plan? Very well, Your Grace. This will certainly reduce the risks involved in my strategy. Your involvement in this particular manner is certainly unexpected. Well, she can pretend all she wants about how little she cares about us, but I guess she kept her eye on the rest of the family in her own way. Indeed, and perhaps it is possible that your apparent disinterest is the perfect dress I had once crafted for you was but a mask to hide your deep disinterest in the sartorial arts. Oh dear. Nicolina never let that die. That's a light-hearted jest. I merely thought to break the ice, given that you have remained entirely silent since the moment you stepped into this room. Please don't concern yourself with my comments. I'll try on your jest next time. For now, I would like you to elaborate on your plan. We plan to place the helm of Mambrina over Father's head. We received this intelligence from that relic peddler who kept swindling our father. The relic's function is as follows. Whoever so wears the helm shall be viewed as an equal in the eyes of the beholder. Viewed as an equal by the beholder. Does that mean the taboo, revulsion for hurting a higher kindred, can be nullified? Precisely, Your Grace. Were I to look at an individual wearing the helm, I would perceive them as a third kindred. If Lady Sancho or Rodian were to look at them, they would appear as a second kindred. It is said to have a similar effect on humans as well. King shall see the helm wearer as a king, the knight shall see the helm wearer as a knight. The plan was more solid than I had expected, but the risks were still immense. Though Father had expended much of his strength when he created Rocinante, his might remains nigh insurmountable. Even with the crutch provided by the mask, the knowledge that he is still our father will stay the hands of many in our family members. But this is the best chance we've got. For us to be released from the binding saddles of this nightmare. we must drag our father, who gallops onward at the vanguard of this procession, from his steed. That is why we have turned against you. Because in the dark, invisible corners of La Mancha land, we were there, suffering silently as our instincts strangled us. Just as you forsook our happiness, we forsake your ideals. We will seek blood, slaughter every human we see, and the knight who corrupted your mind shall be found and torn limb from limb. Was it your lingering attachment to the dream that it could still be realized? Or was it the resentment towards us who ruined your dream of coexistence, your retribution for our transgressions? Even as your gaze remains downcast, weighed down by the guilt of abandoning your own family, you raise an arm towards us, as though the dream continues still. All of a sudden, I was struck by a terrible premonition. Our preparations were immaculate, ready for every possibility, but should Father unleash his full might, determined to decimate his entire family, he will kill us all. Even if we manage to defeat him, as impossible as that sounds, none of us will survive the battle. That was the best case scenario. Yet why, I wonder? Yet why did I see, from your trembling hands, a clear sign of hesitation that could not be disguised? I quickly motioned the family to stop materializing their weapons out of panic. He isn't trying to fight us. This is... A great shadow, more fast than even the darkest clouds, began to devour the sky over us. A wall of blood begins to materialize around La Mancha land. Is Father sealing La Mancha land? He's trapping us in here! This is the retribution we deserve. Everyone, let's remain calm. We're going to be okay. I know we're going to be okay. The family panics. My sister gives me an odd look. I push harder on my lance, impaling Father's chest. They, and I, have committed the sin of filial impiety. But for the family to be confined here in La Mancha land again, for another eternity of suffering. Stop this. If you ever loved us as much as we once loved you, you will do nothing, I beseech you. For that is your final responsibility to us, as our Father. The shadow that had begun to shroud the sky slowly withdraws, growing thinner, as if to say that his love for us hasn't changed. Father's arm slowly falls back to his side. The family begins to sob. I can see there are tears from the corner of my eyes. From relief that the plan was a success. From the dawning of the terrifying reality we are now without a father. Indeed, someone new must lead them from the vanguard. This mass of responsibility is bloody and heavy, as it rests ponderously upon my shoulders. Should someone come seeking the whereabouts of our father, give them this answer. That our father, who galloped toward a hollow dream, dragging his family through brutal suffering, eventually met his end in the dirt. And should someone ask you the question, how will you live on? Assert boldly, they will live on as Bloodfiend should. Then, while I bear the responsibility and the guilt, go seek the happiness you lost. It's raining red. Father gasps his final breath. Red droplets continue to pelt over our heads with no end in sight. Thus marks the end of the dreaming. La Mancha land is falling apart. For everyone, for you and me. For this crimson rain falls from the cumulus of broken things. The blood overflows, flooding the land before the earth can claim it. And just to double check, what new things do we get from Uptai next? It would be... Maybe I could actually get that.
요즘 밤중에도 배송 의뢰를 자주 배정받아서 아침까지 잠을 영 못 잤네요. 저는 지금부터라도 조금 자야겠어요.
Okay, so it increases the coin power strength. We knew about that. Okay, so it adds an extra bleed coin. That's very nice. 4 plus 6. And then gain extra coin power conditional. So that would become 8. Giving it a cap of 20? Not bad. And this gets a cap of 15. But like I said, bleed is a very hard conditional to maintain because the enemy can get rid of it so quickly. 5 plus 4, but then a coin power conditional. So it gets the cap of 23. But usually it'll be about 17. And then we have the variants. 4 plus 3 over 5 is 19. That's ridiculous. This does not have extra coin power, it looks like. Well, actually, no, it already had it. And it would also be a 19. Gain attack weight for all the hard blood and consume hard blood for every attack weight. There's no improvement to her upgraded skill 3, which just shows how strong that was in the first place. Anyway, until next time guys, take care. I'll see you all around.
요즘 밤중에도 배송을
관리자다니! 이것 좀 구경하시겠어? 내 보물들이요!
과거에께서는 누구보다 강한 힘과 강인한 정신력을 지니셨어. 그렇기에 우리를 절대 이해하실 수 없는 거다. 우리가 얼마나 피해 절실한지, 우리가 어떻게 죽어가고 있는지.
Actually, before I do that, I need to go check that out at some point, but Identity Archive. Okay, so there's no varying stories, so this would be a pretty big spoiler if you picked it up. But yeah, until next time, take care, I'll see you all around.
해가 뜨는군. 곧 인간들이 잔뜩 찾아오겠지. 아무것도 모르는 얼굴로 웃으면서. 가족들은 웃음거리가 되어 타들어가는 갈증에 목을 움켜쥐는